How to use the gradient tool in Photoshop. This tutorial will show you how to use the gradient tool in Photoshop. This tutorial assumes you already have your picture open in Photoshop. The gradient tool allows you to fill an area with a range of colors in a specified pattern. Right-click on the paint bucket in the toolbar. Select the gradient tool. Now, click and drag your mouse from one point in the image to another. Notice, Photoshop has filled the image with color using the currently selected preset. You can change the colors of your gradient or select a preset here. Select a preset from the list. Each stop represents a different color that you can change to affect the overall look of the gradient. Click on the color and select a different shade. When you are finished, click OK. You can also add a stop by clicking in any of the empty space. Drag the stops to move colors closer to each other in the gradient. To delete a stop, select it and click Delete. You can rename your gradient here. Click New to add it to the list of presets. Your gradient now shows up in the list. To save the list of gradients, click the Save button. Enter a name for the gradients, then click Save. To load a list of gradients, click the Load button. Select the gradient list you wish to load and click the Load button. The gradients have been appended to the existing list. You can delete a gradient by right-clicking on it and selecting Delete Gradient. The gradients can be reset at any time by going to the menu and selecting Reset Gradients. Click OK. You will have the option to save your gradients. The default gradients have replaced the previous list. If you wish to load a set of saved gradients without appending them to the list, you will need to replace them. Go to the Gradient menu and select Replace Gradients. Select the gradient list you wish to load and click the Load button. Photoshop also comes with its own list of gradients. Select one from the list to load the presets. Click OK. The gradients have replaced the previous list. Click OK to close the gradient window. There are several styles of gradients to choose from, including linear, radial, angle, reflected, and diamond. We will select the radial gradient. Click and drag your mouse from one point in the image to another. Photoshop has used your settings to apply a radial gradient. You can also select the opacity of a gradient. Adjust the slider to the desired value. You can also reverse the order of a gradient. Now, drag your mouse from one point in the image to another. Note that the blue color is now in the center instead of red. Also, the last gradient is visible under the new one. This is the end of the tutorial. You now know how to use the gradient tool in Photoshop.